This is Dolany TV, ladies and gentlemen, fresh out of the gym here in Airdrie tonight. Let me tell you, the Edmonton Oilers making a trade. Andrew Mangiapane headed to the Chicago Blackhawks in return for Jason Dickinson, and potentially Colton Dach is the name we're hearing. I think that's all but confirmed at this point, according to Elliot Friedman, right before I hit the live button here for you. So a big night for the Oilers. Another deal with the Chicago Blackhawks. Andrew Mangiapane, no longer a member of the Edmonton Oilers, and a protected first-round pick headed back to Chicago. So a lot of moving pieces. Obviously, this was a quick turnaround deal. It just basically happened about 40 minutes into my gym routine tonight, and then all of a sudden I leave and things really blow up and escalate. I was trying to make it home, and it just felt like the way this deal was escalating that we could not wait to get the video done. So here we are live on YouTube. Friends, welcome into Dolany TV. If you're new to the channel, watching back on the replay or watching live, consider hitting that subscribe button for Oilers content. It's kind of been a weird year, but it is what it is. That said, new guy, Jason Dickinson, third line center role for the Edmonton Oilers. A guy who, according to the advanced metrics, if we give him Roslovic, Savoy, Podkolzin, Kapanen, will excel at creating opportunity, and that's what I got to caution here. The Oilers have to create opportunity and cash in opportunity for Jason Dickinson's numbers in the advanced analytics to mean something offensively. A guy that hasn't produced much offensively this year, but again, you got to remember he's on the Chicago team that's still just kind of rising out of the rebuild right now, so things are maybe a little bit slower than expected for Jason Dickinson this year after two good years, the past 2 out of 3 in Chicago. So for Dickinson, again, any offense is an increase over what we're already getting out of the third line center role right now. What would you have with Josh Szymanski and Adam Henrique kind of filling that role right now anyway? And of course, for the Oilers, to get Colton Dach, who's 6'4", 228, that I don't care what he produces offensively in the absence of obviously Connor Clattenburg being on the injured reserve, I think all year now. It's a huge get for the Oilers, who need a big body, a body that can go around and smash the opponent into the glass a little bit here, especially come playoff time. A team that isn't necessarily the hardest to play against traditionally in the Edmonton Oilers. Colton Dach, 6'4", a guy capable of giving you upwards of 12 minutes a night. That is a huge addition to this Oilers team that so sorely needs, whether you need a fighter, whether you just need a big body that can play legitimate NHL minutes. So that's a huge add for the Oilers. Like I said, the cost is a protected first-round pick and Andrew Mangiapane. The thing that I've had explained to me tonight about this first-round pick and the scenario that led up to the Oilers trading it away is, you got to remember, if the Oilers win the Cup, that pick is number 32 in the draft. It might as well be a second for all intents and purposes over the past several years. Okay, that's caution number one. Caution number two here for the Oilers as we get going into kind of more or less how this trade breaks down is there's retention on Dickinson, 50%. So that buys you the retention as a pick in any trade normally does. Plus it gets rid of the $3.8 million cap hit that is Andrew Mangiapane this year, and his salary cap next year. Look no further than what we had to trade to get rid of Victor Arvidsson last offseason. So keep in mind for the Oilers, there is some ability here to obviously get the cap relief and an extra player in Colton Dach, who has tremendous upside from what the Oilers lack perspective. I'm not going to say he's going to be a 50-goal scorer and a point-per-game player next to Connor McDavid. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this is a guy that, given what he brings to the table physically, given what he brings to the table in a bottom-line role, a fourth-line role, maybe once in a while a third-line role, he has tremendous upside for the Edmonton Oilers based on everything I've been able to gather very quickly here tonight as things escalate towards this deal getting done. Obviously, the number one thing here is Andrew Mangiapane is off the books. The saga is over. Another failed free agent experiment from the Edmonton Oilers turns into another pick gone out the door to clear cap space. Again, that's fine and dandy. The Oilers, in turn, turning one player on a cap dump and a pick out the door into two more players and a guy that solidifies the third line center role. You got to be kidding me. I know everyone's going to be hard on an outside perspective on Stan Bowman for this, and even within the Edmonton Oilers fan base, there's going to be a lot of criticism of this move by Stan Bowman, but against a rock and a hard place for Bowman, he's able to navigate two players into the organization and obviously continue to clear cap hurdles for the Edmonton Oilers. I believe there's still a possibility, given the fact that Curtis Lazar could go to LTIR, that the Oilers could still yet add another player here at the trade deadline if they so chose to do. So it's quite incredible for the Oilers what they've been able to do, given that we literally had no cap space available to us at the time of making these moves. So it's fantastic to see that, again, no matter what you want to what you want to complain about when it comes to what Stan Bowman has done with, of course, Connor Murphy, and now the second deal with Chicago Blackhawks for Jason Dickinson and Colton Dach, the fact that we've had any moves that could potentially make this Oilers team better. That's the thing, is the goaltending situation. If you want to say that it's gotten worse now with Tristan Jarry, it was not going to get better with Stuart Skinner. I will say that flatly. We have run him out of town. It was the end of the course with Stuart Skinner. Things were done. It was not a great place to play anymore for Stuart Skinner. And unfortunately, as a mental side goaltender that Skinner is, it was never going to improve here in Edmonton. Now, the other side, too, as well, is you got a situation where with Jarry, it's not getting better. That's fine. And there is already talk, as we've seen all week, that the Oilers might be interested to some degree in making another move regarding goaltending. I mean, how much stock you want to put into that, don't put too much in there. But again, Connor Murphy, you lost Brett Kulak. You get a guy like Brett Kulak back in terms of Connor Murphy. Plays the right side, which is where the Oilers are kind of thin right now. Again, somebody to play next to Jake Wallman and really give us three fleshed out pairs where you've got a top pair in Ekholm and Bouchard. You got a second pair in Wallman and Murphy and a second pair in Nurse and Emerson. Given the Oilers' quality of defensemen, this is a huge set of moves. And then you add in Dickinson, who replaces, at 30 years old, the ghost of Adam Henrique. I'm sorry, I've been very critical of Henrique this year, but Henrique has just lost completely everything that makes his game special. And again, that tends to happen, and the Oilers tend to have a thing where they do situations like that and sign guys to deals that they shouldn't. Again, we know that happens, and it is what it is. But Colton Dach coming back again as a third or as a fourth line option in place of, like we're seeing in the comments right now here live, Curtis Lazar for the short term, but also a guy that is 6'4", 228, can bring some size, some upside point scoring wise. Again, you look at the bottom six for the Oilers. If you're going to say Colton Dach brings no offense, I'd like to see what you think about the guys we already have, because they don't really bring any offense, if at all. They barely even bring a pulse. So 6'4", 228 is going to bring a pulse on the ice. At least I know that for sure. So you replace Henrique, you add Dellock. Dickinson is a guy that his advanced analytics show that he can outscore the opposition, at least if we give him the right wingers, and we kind of have 4 or 5 guys floating around that top 9, top 6 positions. Savoy, Podkolzin, Roslovic, Kapanen, right? You got some guys floating around there, and some other guys as well that like Ike Howard, Josh Szymanski, and Quinn Hudson that could very well boast up there as well. And for the Oilers, it still leaves you room that, you might have James Hamblin float up, Robbie Arventi for the short term, whatever it takes to get things situated for the game against Carolina on Friday. I think the Oilers have done very well. I don't care really how you grade the moves or what you view the moves as here from Stan Bowman when it comes to Murphy, Dickinson, and Dach. What I do care about from an Oilers perspective right now is the fact that there have been moves made, so it isn't just give up and bury your head in the sand, and it has been trying to get creative and trying to find spots on the roster in which the Oilers can improve at, really, all things considered, a minimal cost when it comes down to it at the end of the day. A first-round pick, a second-round pick out the door to acquire Jason Dickinson, acquire Colton Dach, and acquire Connor Murphy, while also getting rid of Andrew Mangiapane, really with no retention and double retention, technically, Murphy and Dickinson retained by Chicago, is absolutely masterclass work, given what the Oilers' situation was even just 2 weeks ago. Honestly, I will tell you that. Just 2 weeks ago, if you would have told me the Oilers would be able to do this much maneuvering within 2 weeks towards the trade deadline, I would not have believed you, because it just didn't seem like the Oilers had A, the assets, or B, the ability of which to make these moves. So it's just an absolute great time as an Oilers fan. Even if they're just on par or just slightly above upgrades, it's just kind of nice to see from an Oilers fan perspective that they have gotten something done here at the deadline, and the deadline's not done yet. So there's still bigger things to come, hopefully, from the Oilers, right? Like Jason Dickinson and Colton Dach is a massive move by comparison sakes for the Oilers over the last several deadlines. What's the biggest move? You got Matthias Ekholm, still rings true to be the biggest move I've seen at the deadline for the Oilers. But really, when it comes down to it, again, the cap retention on part of Chicago is north of a lot. But for right now, friends, I got to let you go. Phone's failing me. I will let you go here now.